Hello everyone. In this section we're going to cover the basics of transitions in Corona. Transition is used to move a specific variable within a display object from one number to another. So to quite simply, you can move an object across the screen with a basic transition. You can take a look at the transition structure in the API. There is a full set of transition information here. It is a full library, and there's a whole bunch of transition functions that you can use within it. We're primarily going to be focusing on transition.2, so I'd recommend taking a look at it and see what transition.2 has to offer. So go ahead and open your main file and your examples file, and we're going to go ahead and run through some of the basic examples provided. So the first thing I'd like you to do is go ahead and grab the two lines for new circle and then the transition.2. So the way a transition works is you give it an object and then you give it a table of information to tell it how to handle that transition. So to put it quite simply, we can do, for this circle, let's first make sure it's on screen. Okay, we have the circle. So we do transition.2. We pass the object that we're going to be transitioning, then a comma, and then a table of information for that transition. So let's make this move over to the right. So we'll do x is 400. We'll see here now it will move to an x location of 400. We could also give it a y location. So now it's moving 400 and 400. We could give it an alpha to make it fade away. So any piece of data that a display object has, you can use to potentially change in a transition. Now in transition, we can also set the length of time it takes for it to occur. So this is in milliseconds, so that's 1.5 seconds. If we did 10,000, it would take 10 seconds for it to cross the screen. So that's the basics of running a transition. Now transitions do have a large set of parameters that you can pass them. We're going to go through a few of them here. Let's grab the second circle and the first circle in this code. And what we have here is we have a delay now for the second one of 750 milliseconds, and the time on the first one is 750. So the second one only activates after this delay is expired, thus making it start its motion at the same time this ends. This one also has an onComplete. Now in order for this to work, we need the function that we've provided here. So let's go ahead and grab that and put it on the top of the page. So now we'll see it print when the second one is completed, transition completed. This onComplete parameter is a function call for when the transition ends. So when the transition is complete, it will run whatever function name you put in that section. So it ran this function when this transition is done. This is great when you want to trigger a set of code when a specific thing reaches a specific point in its animation. Next up, let's go ahead and grab this third circle and drop it in here. And this third circle has delta. Now delta is just a boolean, true, false, and true delta will set it so the x and y values, or the numbers that you give it, are no longer the new locations for it, but instead they are additions to the current numbers, so they're delta motion. So the idea here is whatever the current x value is for third circle, it's going to add 100. And whatever the current y value is, it's going to add 50. So it doesn't actually you don't even have to know where its current location is for delta to work. It'll just move it based on its current location. So we'll see it moves by 150. Next up, let's go ahead and get the fourth circle. Now this one uses a delay as well as another onComplete. Let's drop it in there. And then the last one we're going to grab is the ease circle. And we're going to need this function on the top as well. So what we have here now is this function, this fourth one, has an onComplete of pausing this transition. So what this is doing is transition.pause will pause a named transition that you pass to it. So when this transition is completed, it runs this function, pause ease, and this will pause this transition that's already activated. So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and comment this line of code out. We're going to take a look at this ease transition as well. So now we'll see that we move, it moves, and then this one You'll see that one actually starts off very slow and speeds up across its transition. That is because it's using an easing function. So an easing function is a set of functions that are available for Corona that allow you to have something move at a variable speed. In the library, there is a set of easing functions that you can go to and see the various speeds at which they work. So right now we're doing the inexpo. Let's try out elastic, this one. See how it looks. You'll see now it kind of creates a bit of a bounce, like a wiggle once it's done. That is the out elastic. So you'll see here it's this structure. So that's the easing functions, and you can find all their names here and the curves for what they represent. So that is the basics for the transition library. In the next stage, we're going to go over making a full game in using the whole set of libraries in Corona. Thanks for joining.